Hi everyone, today I want to show you how to make a really delicious treat. It's actually a halloumi tiropita, which is basically a cheese triangle which contains halloumi, a little bit of ricotta, or in Greece amphotiro, so a very light cheese which makes it creamy and balances out the saltiness, an egg and some mint leaves. So let's get to it. The ingredients are, we've got 300 grams of halloumi, and halloumi comes in a block like this. Usually, I buy the 900 gram box. I've just shredded that with a grater. So it's quite dense and moist, but don't use much more than that. This will make about 12 of these tiropitas. We've got some ricotta, that's about 180 grams or thereabouts of ricotta. Very light cheese, creamy, balances out the saltiness. One egg, which we'll beat, and we've got our mint leaves. Okay, so we'll chop these up. Well, I might as well do that now. Now, I'm not a great chopper, and I hate chopping with gloves because I can't grab anything. But the leaves basically just need to be not very large, but the leaves actually have a nice balance with the halloumi. It's a beautiful balance. It complements the cheese. Halloumi in most cases actually has some mint leaves in it, but this one doesn't seem to have it, but I have seen the halloumi come with mint leaves actually inside the cheese. So that's it. The leaves are pretty, finely chopped. I try to remove don't have any stems in there. But even if you get a larger leaf, it doesn't really matter. It's not that strong a flavor. Okay, so what do? We've got our cheese. We'll do it in an order where I can actually mix up last. So a bit of black pepper. There's no guaranteed exact recipe for this. So as you can see, it's probably 2 or 3 pinches of black pepper, just to give it a bit of flavor. I spread the leaves through. Okay, I'll then add the ricotta on top, just so that we can, and we'll talk about the pastry in a second as well. Okay, we'll throw the rest on top. Again, it can be rough, doesn't really matter. Leaves with like a little bunch. I just took most of the stems off and used as much of the leaves only. All right, an egg, 1 beaten egg, throw it over the top. And this is the messy part now. I'll remove this. So with this, you can use a combination of, you can use a ladle, but I think trying to get this balanced usually works best by hand. But what we'll do is I'll start with my hands, and then we'll get rid of the gloves to continue. Now these it's very dense. When I make this with feta, the feta is a lot drier. It just seems the halloumi actually retains a lot of moisture. Even when you fry halloumi, you actually see the liquid come out of it as you're frying it, and then once it dries, it starts going that golden brown and tastes delicious fried as well. I've made a video of that, have a look at that. But you can see the mixture, it doesn't look, it's very wet, but we'll move on to, I think that's enough, it's pretty well balanced, pretty evenly spread. It's just a filling, which will also melt as it heats up and cooks. Okay, now, we've got our puff pastry sheets. Some people like making this on their own. For me, to sit down and make pastry, which I'm not a great pastry chef anyway, so I like the easy way out. I get the puff pastry. I think it's very light and it tastes delicious when it comes out of the oven. It's actually nice and crispy as well. So all I do is I cut it into four even squares. You don't need a lot of filling in each one, so I just put it down, as you can see here. I just put enough around that corner there. That's plenty. You might think it doesn't look like a lot, but it's plenty. And let me bring out my fork. So the way these sheets work, you simply roll it over and press the edges down. If a bit of filling starts showing on the edge, don't worry too much about it. Let me bring out one of my forks. And all you need to do with this is basically push the edges down. And that's going to actually keep it wrapped up and you won't get any leakage. So I've got a tray here, which is lined with baking paper or parchment paper, I think they call it in some countries, but we call it baking paper here in Australia. I've lined it with some olive oil, and I usually just give it a little rub as I make each one. So I'll just make another one, and I'm planning, so as you can see, I've got 3 sheets, the others are defrosting there. I'm planning on getting 12 cheese triangles out of this mixture. So let's take out this plastic sometimes. Okay, very easy to handle. Push it down. It's not that hard to do. And if it's nice and moist, like, you know, a bit moist the way this is, it's very easy to handle. Sometimes if you get the edges, if you leave it out long, it dries and then it starts crumbling. So, you know, try to keep it as moist as possible. Keep the sheets overlaid. Don't leave it out too long. These are being left out for about 10 minutes from being frozen. And number 2, they don't expand too much, so we will end up with 6 on this tray. Put them on your tray and we'll be back when the rest are ready to go in. Okay, I've now completed the 12. Actually, the ingredients come out exactly to 12 of these square sheets. All you need to do is separate them so they're not touching. It doesn't really matter, they don't stick that well. They don't rise and expand like bread. So they will rise a little bit, but nothing to worry about. Give them a little coating of olive oil. Now, some people use egg wash. I just prefer a bit of olive oil. This puff pastry tastes delicious with just as it is. You can probably even leave them without anything to really. I've made pitas without any coating. And for each one of these, simply give them a couple of holes, right? Just so that allows any moisture to evaporate as it's cooking. Halloumi, as I said, is delicious. It's not typically used in these type of tiropitas or cheese triangles. It's usually used on its own, fried, or in a pasta, or barbecued. The oven has been preheating at 200 degrees. Now, these will take about 20 minutes to cook, so monitor them till they go golden brown. So I'll put them in now. 200 degrees. Fan forced. We'll put a reminder for about 15 minutes in case they overcook. We'll be back when it's time to take them out. Okay, it's been 20 minutes, pretty much exactly on 20 minutes, and as you can see, I've taken these, I've started putting them on a plate, but they come out exactly like this. They're quite crispy. Now, okay, this is actually touchable. I just cut one in half just so we can sort of see what the filling looks like. But the puff pastry has gone up. You can see the filling. You don't want too much filling because it is quite salty. So the balance of the ricotta helps you. I think it's cooled down enough now, so I'll give it that taste test. Hoping it tastes as great as I always taste, but it's got that classic halloumi flavor to it. A little bit of saltiness, balance from the ricotta, and that mint it complements it. It's scrumptious. Can't stop eating it. It's COVID time. The family's going to come and polish these up. Well, all three of them actually will probably polish these up. We can't go out, we're in lockdown. So subscribe. I'll be making some tiropitas with feta. I've made a feta pita as well, which you can have a look at. So subscribe, leave a comment, let me know how you go. Very easy meal, and enjoy. See you soon.